I was with my mother. I believe it was even Mother's Day, and we were just having a conversation. I don't know where it came from or how it got brought up, but I remember my mother looking at me and going, you never needed anybody. Your sister needed people, meaning my younger sister. But you never needed anyone. And I just remember in that moment, just feeling that little kid, right? Just being like, God damn, is that really what you think? That I chose to not be able to rely on people? That I chose not to be able to trust people? You think I wanted to be this strong? And I think I say this, um, and through, doing my own work, I was in a position to be able to, hold that feedback and, do with it in a much healthier way, than I would have like back in the day. But I use it to illustrate a point here. And not just for people operating within and, working on rewiring patterns and programming of hyperindependence and over self-reliance to the point of self-detriment. People who operate within coping mechanisms of hyperindependence, that kid that came out with those that coped in that way still needed, and maybe even more so, needed care, attention, acknowledgement, consideration, validation, right? I think it's kind of like, chicken or egg, right? Kid, experiences pain and disappointment and feels like they can't rely or trust on the adults in their environment. Um, and starts to operate in very independent ways. Parents see a strong, independent little kid and think they're good. Like they're raising themselves. Like I don't need to put in as much, right? I think the point I want to make here is twofold. For those people who have or may have in the future a child who is a little bit more strong-willed, a little bit more independent, that does not mean you need to parent less, right? That is not your permission slip to like, it doesn't absolve your responsibility um, of attending to their needs. But also twofold is for anyone who experienced this, understand, like I want you to understand, you never should have gone without it to begin with, right? And this is never a space of, blaming parents or, um, you know, like throwing blame anywhere, right? This is just, you need to understand that just because you got through it doesn't mean, and could get through it and did get through it, right? Doesn't mean you didn't deserve or need what you didn't have, right? And that can be a hard thing to acknowledge, right? Because that in itself comes with the pain and disappointment that we didn't let ourselves feel back then. But reparenting work and rewiring these patterns and programming is giving yourself all those things that you deserved and needed, even though you got through without, right? And that creates a safety within yourself that makes hyper independence not something you need to lean into in order to get through your day. You always needed it. You always deserved it. right? And I think, again, I'll say my generation specifically, it's only recently that emotional intelligence and, getting therapy and things have become more mainstream, more attainable, more acceptable, right? Back when we were kids, like elder millennials, Gen X, and I mean, even the young millennials and Gen Z, it's like your parents didn't have the capacity, the emotional intelligence, the emotional maturity to give you what you needed, right? Or else this coping mechanism probably wouldn't exist for you, right? That is just a fact. But it does not mean that you didn't deserve it, that you didn't require it, right? The fact that you managed and survived without it does not absolve the fact that right now, to this day, you still deserve and need it. And when you connect the dots, right, and start to give that to yourself, everything will change.